I like task analysis because you can use it as a great baseline data collection, and then you can use it as an assessment tool throughout your teaching. And the reason that task analysis becomes so handy is some of the functional skills are really difficult to measure pencil and paper. So how do you tell if a person can tie their shoe? How do you put a percentage on the accuracy of tying their shoe? How do you put a percentage accuracy on picking up a spoon? Or any of those functional skills, using a pop machine, counting money, those kinds of things. So that's where a task analysis comes in really handy, and I encourage you to create one to use as your baseline data collection. And how it works is you break down the skills. So whatever skill you want to do, say it, open a door, put their shirt on independently, go place an order at McDonald's independently. You take that skill and you break it down into the tiniest steps. So my example here is getting on shoes. At our house, our shoes are in a closet, so you have to open bifold doors, and then in the closet are those plastic drawers that you can buy, like those three shelf drawers, and they're full of shoes, basically, is how we do it, because I have 3 girls, so there's lots of shoes in our house. So I did this task analysis when my youngest was maybe about 2 on putting on shoes independently. And if you think about it, who put on your first shoes on you? Moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, right? They physically did it for you. They physically prompted you. They basically did it for you. And as you got older, they started to do less and less. They'd maybe get your shoes out and give them to you and expect you to put them on, and then they'd maybe come back and tie them for you. And you probably went through a stage where you put your shoes on your wrong feet a lot, and you walked around, and then they would verbally prompt you, you need to switch your shoes around. Or they might have still physically prompted you and did it for you. So when we do a task analysis, we think of all the steps, even the little tiny ones, on how to do that skill. So this one I have walk to the closet. The natural prompt would be we're getting ready to go somewhere. So there's always a natural prompt. For some reason, you know when to place your order at McDonald's. You know when to put your shoes on. You have a natural prompt. So our natural prompt would be we're getting ready to go somewhere. The people around the house are gathering their things. That would be the natural prompt for my daughter to, oh, it's time to put my shoes on. We're leaving. And nobody should have to tell her to do that. So this is really annoying. So the first thing I would expect is she would walk to the closet. She would open the closet door. She would choose her appropriate shoe drawer. She would open the shoe drawer, and then she'd choose 2 matching shoes. She'd pick the shoes up out of the drawer. She'd set the shoes out and put them on the correct feet. And that's usually a tricky area for small children learning. So you might have to teach the skill of left and right, and that would be a prerequisite skill. Before she could actually put on her shoes, she'd have to understand left and right. Close the shoe drawer, close the closet door, sit down and put shoes with buckles or ties on, or you could stand up if you're going to put on slip-ons like flip-flops. Pull the shoe onto the correct foot, and then fasten the shoe. And then again, you might have to have a sub area depending on what type of shoe it is. So if they have to tie, if they have to buckle, if they have to Velcro. So you might have to have a whole nother task analysis for that. The fun part about this is scoring. And you can make up your own. You guys have this, by the way, under course content, under task analysis, so you have a copy of this. You can make up your own scoring rubric if you want. The only important thing is that you stay consistent. So if you use this as a pre-measurement and you have your own scoring rubric, you want to use the same scoring rubric as your post-measurement. You don't want to change up your scoring. So 1 would be physical guidance. So we're helping her do it. 2 would be modeling. Okay, watch me do it. Now you do it, would be modeling. 3 would be direct verbal. Flip it over, use your other hand, put it on the other foot, trace the line. I mean, you tell them exactly what to do. It's a directive. Open the door. Sit down. We're being very direct. 4 would be an indirect verbal. Where does it go? Okay, what should you do next? And so you're giving them those little prompts, but you're not telling them what to do. Gesture would be a 5. So you just kind of point. Like, we're leaving, point to the shoe closet. And hopefully she would know to go get her shoes on. 6 is a natural cue, basically independent. You don't have to prompt at all. And you can score each of the areas above. So she sees we're all getting ready, and she's still just sitting around watching us. You want to go from the least intrusive teachers to the most intrusive. So you don't want to have to start with physical guidance. You want to start with that gesture. Okay, so we're all getting ready. I might kind of point to her and point to the closet. But she's still just lollygagging around, sitting around. Okay, now I'm going to have to do more than just gesture. So I might say, hey, we're all getting ready. What should you be doing? If she does it, what would I score it? What would that score be? What kind of prompt would that be?
Do you want like a number score?
Right, or you can tell me what kind of prompt that would be. Oops. Which one? 4, an indirect verbal, because I didn't tell her directly to do. I said, what should you be doing? Look, we're all getting ready. What should you be doing? And so we'd go up here. Oops. And we would put a 4 here. All right. And she's like, oh, okay, she did it then. She walks to the closet door. She's kind of small. She's tugging. She can't get that door open. She's pulling. It's not going to work for her. Obviously, at that point, we're probably going to jump right to which one of these? Physical guidance, because she's not able to do that. So I'm going to have to physically open the door and kind of help her. So I'm going to score that as a 1. She all of a sudden is tugging on her shoe drawer. She knows exactly where her shoe drawer is. What would we score it? A 6, because nothing was needed. She knew where her shoe drawer was. She was independent on that. Okay, once again, she's kind of tugging on the shoe drawer. It's kind of coming open, but it's a little hard for her. She's a little young. So she's pulling on it. It's slightly coming open. There's a shoe kind of wedged. So I say, oh, look at that, shoe's making it stick. She pushes the shoe down. She pulls it out. What would that be? Probably a direct verbal, we'll say. So we're going to go down to the scale, and that is a 3. She gets her matching shoes, no problem. She's pretty excited about that. So she pulls out her matching shoes. What would we score it? 6. She picks up the shoes. She throws them on the floor and sets them out. What would we score it? They're tennis shoes, so they do have a tie on it. She puts them on the wrong feet. So I say, oh, those aren't on the right feet. Indirect, because I didn't say switch shoes. I said, oh, those are on the wrong feet. And I'm hoping she's going to figure out, what do I need to do, and switch them. So I'd probably go an indirect verbal on that one, which is going to be a 4 again. She pushes the shoe drawer closed. She gets it most of the way, but she's busy with her shoes, so she just kind of pushes it, walks away. I go and end up pushing it shut. What would I score it? Physical, because I did it for her, so it's going to be a 1. Now, did I make a good teacher move right there? No, because I jumped to doing it for her before going through the steps. So I took away a learning opportunity in her independence. Does that make sense? Because instead I should have pointed to the drawer, like, hey, the drawer's open, and seen if she went and pushed it. And if she didn't, then I should have said, what should we do with that drawer? And hoping that she'd go push it indirect. She still doesn't, then I should have said, you need to shut the drawer direct. Does this make sense? And then all the way down to physical. But as a teacher, I took away that moment, so not a good teacher move. Okay. Close the closet door. We'll pretend I go through all those steps. I show her how to close the closet door. She just physically cannot do it. So I'm going to score it at a what? A 1 again. Okay. She sits down, she puts her shoes on. She kind of fiddles with the laces, but she doesn't know how to tie. So I have to physically tie the shoes for her. So she can put the shoes on, those kinds of things, but she's not tying it correctly. What would we score that? I end up having to tie it. Physical again, because I have to literally do it for her, so that's going to be another 1. Oh, we already talked about she put the shoes on the correct foot up there a little bit earlier. She had them wrong, and I think we said an indirect verbal, right? So that was a 4. And she can't fasten, so we have a 1. Oh, up here, we'll just pretend that she did sit down. So we'll put her at a 6. She sat down and put them on. 6. Okay. So, how many steps are there in this? There's 12. What's the maximum points you can get for each one? 6. What's 12 times 6? 72. So she was totally independent at this skill. When we add these up, she should have 72. How many does she have? You gotta add these. You have to add all these up. $43. Everyone get 43? What's 43 divided by 72? Asking a lot of math questions today. Let me break out my calculator here. 59.7%. That's her accuracy on independently putting on her shoes. So it's a really great baseline data measurement for functional skills that are difficult to measure in another way. Down here, I think I have another example where I filled in the chart here, and I have some notes to explain. Now, when you go up, and we can look down here too, when you go up, you have to think of the individual that you're working with. The areas that we're really going to want to concentrate on, teachers, is the low areas. So when we look here, we see a 1 on opening the closet door. We see a 1. It's disconnected from the projectors. Can't seem to win here. And you see a 1 at close the shoe drawer, close the closet door. Come back up. And you see one. And you see a 1 at the fasten the shoe. Okay. You have to use your imaginations because it's not going to connect to the projector. So anytime we see the ones, that's an area, teachers, that we start to look at. How can we teach that skill? Or is this an area we have to modify the environment? I'm trying to tape this for my online class, and this is really frustrating for me. Stop. Just give up.